Tan garrafón.
La boca por dentro la tengo garrafosa.
What did David do? What he say? Yeah, David. Let's get to the point, please.
So originally we did nursing and then other. So he asked us to flip it, so we're going to look at other. So for the step method, first thing first.
Ay, lo perdí.
Tenía que haber llevado 3 cajas de
Other,
esa
we know that
a toda la semana.
okay?
¿Quieres
And
tocar?
we know that other,
Última. 10 minutos
this is
más.
how it's
Ya dije,
allocated.
ya, ¿por qué te estás
30%.
robando la energía?
No, pero no,
Eres una cabrona energía. Cuando veas a la misma,
Okay?
una vida,
So guys, since we're looking at medicine and
Yo no le
surgery,
voy a estar diciendo esas
and we're only
cosas.
going to count for these two
te
efforts,
dice
because we're going to
me paras de
allocate the
aquel
money
lado.
from the service department to the revenue department. What is 50% of 100,000?
it's 50,000.
50,000, correct.
Yay!
Yes,
Okay. What's 30,000? What's 30% of 100,000?
it's 30,000.
Correct. And then what's left is going to be allocated to nursing, correct? Which is how much?
20,000.
Thank you. For the allocation.
Yes,
Okay. Awesome.
I'm trying to practice.
So now, that was the first step. Okay, that was the first step, and which now we have completely knocked out the other. Okay. So now we're going to go to the next step, which is nursing. How much money does nursing currently have allocated? 200,000. Yes.
220,
We're going to add this
220,
here and carry it over, right? So now we know that
220,000.
this has been spent out.
¿Cómo se va a
No
apretar?
longer
Yo
is
no
there
entiendo.
anything going on over there in other. Okay? 220,000. Now, what are the ratios
For
for
nursing,
nursing?
30, 50,
30, 50, 20. Now, we're only going to count for the first two, right? So, what's the fraction going to be, guys?
30 divided by 80.
Divided by 30 plus 50, and the other one is
30,
It's 0.375.
50,
50.
Yay!
37.
divided by 30 plus 50.
Okay? So we all know. Okay? So now let's do the first one. To get this number over here, under medicine, how much is going to be allocated, right? We're going to do 220,000 times 30 over 80, which gives us how much, guys?
0.375. It's
82,500, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay? And we're going to do
Yes.
the same thing over here, except we're going to use now the other one. So we're going to do 220,000 times 50 over 80, which equals
137. 500.
500, right? Now we have to sum all the numbers. Okay, so let's sum. 500 plus 50,000 plus
220.
80,500 is how much?
220,000.
No. 500.
Oh, my.
500
I thought you said that.
650.
Oh, I thought you said 82,500 plus
650 plus
137.
82.5.
So it's 630,000.
Yeah,
Thank you.
man. I don't like to trust you.
Okay.
I
so
apologize,
we
Pat.
finished. Now we
I
can
apologize.
figure out the cost per patient for the medicine department. We're going to take the 632,500 divided by how many patients?
1,000.
So what do we end up with? 0.50 per patient. That's one. Now let's do the same exactly on the other side. The summation of all these numbers is how much?
1,500,000.
1,167,500 divided by how many, guys?
500.
So our final number is going to be $2,335
Divide it off.
per patient. Is that correct, Professor? Thank you for
It seems a lot more accurate.
Now break it.
It seems a lot more accurate than the first one.
This seems more accurate. Why do you say that?
Seems like you're allocating it more.
Why?
I do.
The funding.
I see like that.
Starting, you're getting all four, and then you're adding this
So
all.
like then I say,
The rule there is that in this
they don't
case,
want that out.
the rule will say that you can pick either of them first. The reason for that is very simple. The way they kind of recommend the rule is that pick the service department first, which gives most of its service to another service department. In this case, both are giving only 20% of their service to the other. See, typically what they would say is, now if I were to ask this question on an exam, I would tell you which you should
Pero
pick.
creo que daba
I wouldn't expect you to know that.
con
But I'm just telling you for your information that the way the system is recommended is that pick the service department which gives the most percentage of its service to another service department. So in this case, if you look at nursing gave 20% of its service to other,
Oh no.
and other gave 20% of its service to nursing. So it wouldn't have mattered, even if that rule was there, it wouldn't have mattered which one you picked first. But the point is that when you're picking one versus the other first, you are changing the cost per patient. That is really the bottom line. The bottom line is to understand that when you evaluate a department based on allocated costs, it critically matters the method by which you allocate the cost. If you don't allocate the cost right, then any conclusion that you draw after the costs are allocated will also matter. And the second point is that if you are a department head whose evaluation is subject to allocated costs, you need to know on what basis that cost is getting allocated, so that way you can question the fairness of the allocation cost. I'll give you a general example without going into the numbers. Think about this case. Let us say that you have two customers. You have a business and your business has got two customers. And let us say that one customer brings in twice the revenue as the other. Right? So let's say 150. One customer brings you $100 in revenue, the other customer brings you $50. Now, let's consider you have some common costs, administrative or other type of overhead. And you decide, for convenience sake, you are going to allocate the common cost to both the customers in the ratio of their revenues. So the one who brings in more revenue will get more of the common cost allocated, and the one with less revenue will get less of the common cost allocated. Let's say you pick that method to allocate, and it's very common. A lot of businesses just do that. The larger customer will absorb more of the common cost, and the smaller customer will absorb less of the common cost. Now you are now developing a metric to say, what is the profitability of each of your customers? You have two customers, and let's say you have the big volume and the low volume customer, and you are determining how much profits you are making on each of the two customers. Right? But now you find out that when you look at the common cost, let's say a big chunk of the common cost has to do with customer service. Okay, so you have people who are answering questions and help type of questions from customers. And let's say the big volume customer is not at all using the customer service line. Whereas a small volume customer is the one who is maximum using your customer service. Constantly calling for help, calling for this. Now you can see clearly your allocation based on the revenues from the two customers is all wrong. Because the one common cost that you have, the customer service cost, is maximum used by the small volume customer. So what you're doing is that the big volume guy is subsidizing the small volume guy because of the way you have chosen to allocate the cost. Which is fine. If you ask the question, oh, you know what, I'm incurring this cost anyway, how does it matter how I allocate it? That's fine. But if you're going to make a decision based on which customer is more profitable and which is less profitable, that decision is going to be flawed because of a flawed cost allocation scheme. Because your allocation does not go into the heart of usage of the service, it is just simply going by what is convenient for you.
So is this like cost accounting?
It is cost accounting. It is cost accounting, but it is something that is very commonly used by managers. Managers are constantly evaluated based on allocation. Typically, things like head office overheads or corporate office overheads. This corporate office overhead suddenly will come and fall on your lap as part of your evaluation, saying that, hey, you know what, the corporate office is there, somebody has to absorb their cost. So when they evaluate your departmental profitability, that will be including some allocation of the corporate office cost. On the other hand, you may be a really profitable department, you are not using any services from corporate office, you are managing fine on your own, but you get to kind of absorb a whole lot of the corporate cost. So if you are the manager or if you are the head of a very profitable division which hardly ever uses corporate office services, you may have a beef here to pick. Okay, you may have some concern here to say that, hey, you know what, why are you guys allocating your cost to me? Whereas I'm not the one using your cost. The one who's really in trouble, they are the ones who are needing your help all the time. You're flying down there and you're sitting down talking to them, giving them training sessions and this and that. So those costs must actually go to them because they're the ones using it. But the corporate office may say, hey, you know what, ability to bear. You have a bigger ability to bear the cost, so you bear the cost. The point is, I'm not saying something is right or wrong. All I'm saying is that being aware of how it is done is a critical element in the functioning of any manager. How the costs are getting allocated is an important informational need of every manager. You need to understand how the costs are getting allocated. So the idea of the one that I told you about customer service, as to why allocating based on revenue is not as good as allocating based on the actual usage of the service. That idea is used in an important context. It's called activity-based costing, okay, or ABC. So activity-based costing says, okay, go to the heart of the overhead. Find out who is actually using it. If you have set up a copy center for, let's say, 5 departments, allocate the copy center cost based on how much is being used by each of the 5 departments, not based on saying that, okay, there are 5 divided by 5 and allocated equal. Okay? So the activity-based costing says, okay, what is really driving the cost? Is it the number of copies being made? Then charge the cost to whoever is making more copies. If the cost is, if it was originally set up as a facility that all the 5 demanded, let's say 5 departments got together and said, oh, we really want the copy center. But then one of the 5 is saying that, hey, you know what, I'm not going to use it anymore because I've set up my own. Now you can actually argue that we set it up only because you guys wanted it, so you got to bear it. Whether you use it or not, you got to bear it. So there must be some understanding of how the cost allocation mirrors the demand on the service that's being allocated. Yes, sir.
The percentage is already, those are values that are already predetermined, right?
Well, in this problem they are, but in a real life situation, you would actually go through an exercise to say, okay, how much, what are the percentages? For example, let us say you have a facilities department, the maintenance people, the cleaning crew. You would want to allocate their cost based on the square footage of the department. So if surgery occupies a huge area of the hospital, then they would pick up most of the facilities cost, because the facility cost, you are assuming that there will be more cost, more the area being occupied. This cleaning and the service and everything will be more if you have a lot of square footage that you are controlling.
How would you determine that?
It has to come from your knowledge of your own unit. Somebody has to be knowledgeable about the unit to be able to say that, hey, you know what, this is how it is being incurred. So we go through what is known as some kind of a subgroup that have to be formed. They will sit together. There will be people from accounting and all the operations. Everybody will be there. They'll come together and say, hey, you know what, this is the fair way to allocate the cost.
Can you have like the facility department track that for you? Like, let's say they tell you what is the percentage of your services will be to each department?
Yeah, but then they have to explain how they came up with the percentage. It's very important. You cannot just say, okay, give us a percentage and then take it. You have to say, okay, tell me how you arrived at that. And then you need to have an understanding of how their operations are run to see whether it is a fair way of determining those percentages. Yes, sir.
How is it, how you have set the scope compared to the initial values?
Of what? The 500, 1 million, 200, that is given to you.
Thank you.
I mean, you will know, based on the budget of the department, you will know how much it is costing medicine to serve the 1,000 patients. So if the medicine sees 1,000 patients in a month, okay, and so you know that it is costing them $500,000 in that month, their own cost, without the allocation. So that will come from the accounting system. The system will get it. Yes, sir.
Just to understand how it is going to understand, how would you frame the question using the step method and using the other department, the nursing department, as the first one?
I would just say that specifically. I would just say that allocate the cost of nursing and other to medicine and surgery by allocating the cost of nursing first.
Using the step method.
Using the step method. So I'll give you the method and I'll give you the starting point. But in the direct method, I don't have to give you because it doesn't matter where you start.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
In the step method, I will have to tell you what the starting point is, and I'll have to tell you what the method is. Is that okay? Yes. Yes. Okay. So now that's a good question. So let's take that. There will be 3 questions on the final, including the bonus. There will be 3 questions on the final. There will be 1 question using cost volume profit analysis, similar to the one of the 2 problems that we did in class.
Okay.
A second question will be on the cost allocation, similar to this. So most probably I might give you, let's say, I mean, I haven't really thought about this. I have to actually go home and write the test. And so I might just give you, let's say, step method.
Yeah.
Allocate the cost using the step method by starting with, let's say, nursing first, or starting with other first. So I'll tell you specifically, but you will get your own exam. Please be very careful. Do not compare answers because it may not be the same. So just make sure that you do your own exam. Right? So you start with nursing first or the other first, and then that will be specified in the test that you get. So that will be a second question. Okay, I was initially thinking I'll ask both, but I think I'll probably ask only one method. Most probably it will be the step method.
Yes.
What's the other method called? Step
The other method is called direct method. Okay. What more do you want me to say other than give you the exam right now? Okay.
No, that's it.
Give us the exact question.
Yeah, that's logical.
You get the cash. Come on.
Okay, that's number 2. That's number 2. Number 3 will be an almost very, very close repeat of one of the questions from the first test.
Good. I love it. Depreciation. I love it.
The first test?
Well, I'll decide. I'll just decide that. But it will be, and it may not be the same for everybody. Again, I'm telling you that. So therefore, so it will be a very close. Meaning, I will change the numbers. It will not be the same numbers, but it will be a very close, relationship to the first test.
The life 4 and the 5.
That's a 15%. That's a 15
The average.
point bonus. The other 2 questions will together worth 75 points. Okay. Together they are worth, the other 2 are worth 75, and this bonus is worth 15 points.
The test will
So
worth 76.
you are going to be evaluated out of, you're going to get a possible score of 90 points, but the maximum score for official grading purposes is 75. So anything you get more than 75, you get to keep. But it's just going to help you in the grading process. That's it.
Thank you, Professor. Sir.
Thank you.
No, that's fine.
Gracias.
I mean, rather than say that everybody gets a name,
We got through it.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. No,
These guys are like, no.
Okay,
So,
we hospital has, medicine and surgery as the revenue department, and nursing and other.
You're like, yeah, here. So basically, you just go up and like, shove it in your bag. You have $52,000 for it.
Okay.
You have to read the chapters.
Yeah. And Nina, for the financial analysis, why not be around 2 or 3 o'clock tomorrow Monday? So we finish it up.
Yeah, he said, he said I don't have money to. He said I don't want to.
What's the other one?
I didn't think you had to. I was just saying.
Indirect.
Above and beyond.
Oh, here, right here. Cross keep going on both profit amount.
Look for, guys, Saturday against your meeting in the afternoon, right?
Fine.
Morning is your information. Yeah, we can try to
Averages aren't accurate.